Okay, here we are again, experiencing another alert. Here we are, and I sitting in base Medrash Shmuel, because I have not had an opportunity to really go home in a shelter. So here I am, outside actually. So what you just heard was an interceptor coming from the Knesset building. And that's the second interceptor going against it. You're going to hear a very big bang very soon. I want you to experience what we are going through in Eretz Israel. We're under attack. And you could hear the bangs, the bombs. And I'm sorry that I have to start to share this. Okay? Getting very close. Okay. We have all the bombs near us. And Shem Shmarenu, and we should say Tehillim today. We're going to say Chaf Beis 22 in Tehillim. Okay. Very important for us to say. You could hear the booms. We were given a warning, and I'm sorry that we have to start to share this way, but we will continue, Mirz Hashem. Okay, Mirz Hashem, we will continue. Okay. Continuing the shir right now, and you can hear in the background, you'll hear some booms. So that, again, we have to really say Tehillim, and today is Tanis Esther, Yud Gimel Adar, and it's the art site of Ramosha Feinstein, my Rebbe, and also the art site of Yehuda Chassid. I'm learning Yirtzeh Hashem. I'm learning every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning. You can join me. We have a shir on Sefer Chassidim. Sorry for blocking that for a second. So it's an Inyan to say Perek Chaf Beis today. Tehillim, it's an Inyan to say Tehillim right now completely, Kuf Lamed, Kuf Chaf Aleph, to say Tehillim every day because of the Matzav. We're in a state of war, as you could hear. And the Kav HaYoshar has written that it's Zehu Yom Rachamim. Today is a day of Rachamim, Tanis Esther. And we should read Mizmor this, Bizman Tanis Yachad Im Tehilas Ishit Li Schus Mordechai Esther. And this is considered a skula gdola, the ptichas sharei shomayim. We heard the gates of hell just now, unfortunately, came on. Now we need to open up the gates of heaven. So in terms of Tanis Esther, there are questions. Yesh she'ela, im ze begeder minhag ba'alma. Tanis Esther, is it a minhag that Klal Yisrael does, or is it chiyuv midvar midivrei hasofrim? And with that, for further discussion of the importance of Tanis Esther and the avoda involved in it, I'm going to include an article both on the reason that we say Chaf Beis today, the reason that we say Chaf Beis Tehillim Hayeles HaShachar, and also the reason that we that the minhagim of whether Tanis Esther is considered a hinuk be'alma or it's considered a chiyuv midivrei hasofrim. Okay. Oh yes, I also wanted to start this year remembering, unfortunately, with the missiles, the ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, the Yamach Shemam, Iran, and who are sending against us. And it turns out the Hezbollah of Lebanon has also included the Houthis, all the Sonei Yisrael, that we did unfortunately lose 9 people in Beit Shemesh alone, and they have released the names of 4 of them, those that died in Beit Shemesh, Sarah Elimelech and her daughter Ronit Elimelech, both of the mother and daughter, and were killed, murdered by the missiles, and then Oren Katz and Gavriel Revach. Gavriel is a very young boy. I don't have the ages of them. And my Rebbetzin informed me that there are cholim, and we have certain names. We're going to have to get an updated list. Yaakov ben Chaser, Avigal bat Tamar, and Sarah bat Tamar. They should have a refuah shlema. I just want to mention the fact that when it comes to let's see my notes all over the place. Okay, so we have covered more or less the importance of Tanis Esther. We want to stay now Perek Chaf Beis in Tehillim. So I'm going to pull out my trusty and here we go. Chaf Beis.
כ"ב למנצח על איילת השחר מזמור לדוד. אלי אלי למה עזבתני רחוק משועתי דברי שאגתי. אלוהי אקרא יומם ולא תענה ולילה ולא דומיה לי. ואתה קדוש יושב תהילות ישראל. בך בטחו אבותינו בטחו ותפלטמו. אליך זעקו ונמלטו, בך בטחו ולא בושו. ואנוכי תולעת ולא איש, חרפת אדם ובזוי עם.
כל רואי
יריעו לי, יפטירו בשפה, יניעו ראש. כל אל אדוני יפלטהו, יצילהו, כי חפץ בו. כי אתה גוחי מבטן, מבטיחי על שדי אמי. עליך הושלכתי מרחם, מבטן אמי, אלי אתה. אל תרחק ממני כי צרה קרובה, כי אין עוזר. סבבוני פרים רבים, אבירי בשן, כיתרוני. בצעו עלי פיהם, אריה, טורף ושואג. כמים נשפכתי, והתפרדו כל עצמותיי. היה ליבי כדונג, נמס בתוך מיי. יבש כחרס כוחי, ולשוני מודבק מל כוחי. ולעפר מוות תשפטני. כי סבבוני כלבים, עדת מרעים הקיפוני. כארי ידיי ורגליי. אספר כל עצמותיי, המה יביטו, יראו בי. יחלקו בגדיי להם, ועל לבושי יפילו גורל. ואתה אדוני, אל תרחק, אילותי, לעזרת תחושה. אצילה מחרב נפשי, מיד כלב יחידתי. הושיעני מפי אריה, מקרני רימים עניתני. אספרה שמך לאחי, בתוך קהל אהללך.
יראה אדוני הללו, זרע יעקב כבדו,
וגורו ממנו כל זרע ישראל. כי לא בזה ולא שיקץ ענות אני, ולא הסתיר פניו ממנו, ובשבעו אליו שמעה. מי איתך דהילתי, בקהל רב נדרי אשלם, נגד יראיו. יאכלו ענבים ויסבעו, יהללו אדוני דורשיו, יחי לבבכם לעד. יזכרו וישובו אל אדוני, כל אפסי ארץ, וישתחוו לפניך, כל משפחות גויים. כי לאדוני המלוכה, ומושל בגויים. אכלו וישתחוו, כל דשני ארץ, לפניו יכרעו כל יורדי עפר, ונפשו לא חיה. זרע יעבדנו, יסופר לאדוני, לדור. יבואו ויגידו צדקתו, לעם נולד, כי עשה.
Okay, and here we go with another rendition of Keilia Azafan, hey Keili Rahama Azafan, Keili Keili Lama Lama Azafani, Keili Keili Lama Lama azavtani, Keli lama lama azavtani. Keli lama lama azavtani. And we also have in this parak, Hamluch Moshe Bagoyim, Moshe Bagoyim, Ki Lashem Bagoyim, Moshe Bagoyim, Moshe Bagoyim, Ki Lashem Hamlucha, Moshe Bagoyim, Ahachenu, Kol Beis Yisrael, Ahachenu, Kol Beis Yisrael, Anisonim B'tzara, B'tzara Uvashivya, Omdim Ben Bayam, Uvein Bayabasha, Amakom Yerachem Aleim, Yotziyem Mitzara, L'Revacha, Mefel Yora, Umishibe L'Gula Hashta Baga, Uvizman Kariv, V'nomar Amen. And let's see if we want to have the Yiddish for today, even though we don't have a Tzvi very much. Called me, and Kotel, of course, is still closed. That's why I'm giving the shir here in Shari Chesed. David HaMelech Zok, der Mizmor, Mizl, as Zingen, in Beis HaMikdash, of a Kli Zemer, Ayelet HaShachar. The Mizmor is, so the Zemer is Ayelet HaShachar, the Mizmor is a Tefillah of dem Yidden in Golis. Keli, mein Gott, Loma Azaftani, Farvos, hat mir verlost, Rachok mir Shuosi verlost, bist du wie weit von dem Helfen Divrei Shagosi. It's interesting that this is called, the war right now is Shagat Ari, and here we have Divrei Shagosi is bis weit von mein Geschrei. Shagosi's Geschrei. We are going to do more than the Geschrei. We're going to have Nitzachon, Yetz Hashem, against Vayehudim Haisa Ora V'Simcha V'Sosam V'Kor Kain Tialanu. Okay, now my Rebbe, Rav Moshe Feinstein, Nolad Ba'uzda, which is in Belarus, and in the year of 1895, Eler Shmono Tishim V'Chamesh, V'Niftar B'New York, B'Yom Yud Gimel Adar, which is, I want to shout out to my son, Natan Itamar, was born on Tainus Esther, Yud Gimel Adar, and it's the day of my Rebbe's Yortzeit. Rav Moshe Feinstein, I remember being in the Lower East Side, outside MTJ, Tiferes Yerushalayim, when there was a levaya of thousands upon thousands of people to give kavod to my Rebbe, Rav Moshe Feinstein, before the Aron was taken to Eretz Yisrael. V'niftar in New York, as I said, in 1986, 1986, mailed to alafim, hundreds of thousands, hishtatfu b'lavayato b'shushan purim b'Yerushalayim. Nitman, he was buried in Bahar Menachos, Lad Kivreim Shel Admur Mibelz, Vagon Chabin. Aviv, Rav David, Satzeh Yashir Shel Achiv Shel Agra, Ayah Rabbah Shel Uzda, Arav Shel Rosh Hashiva, who is...
Nice to see you,
I'm giving a shir right now. If you want, you could join me.
Enjoying a shir also.
Yes, I give a shir too on YouTube. Right
YouTube,
now,
yeah?
Yes, right now, every day. And really, I'm talking about my Rebbe, the one who gave me smicha, Rav Moshe Feinstein. Today is his yortzeit. Yes,
yeah.
and okay. And he, Hayarabba Shel Uzda, his father of David, Rav Shach, Rosh Hashiva Panavish Zacharato, Kamalach Hashem. Anyway, I was walking home, and all of a sudden Yazakar came, so I came for the first base medrash.
Where you daven?
I usually daven at Kaisel, but today I daven at KCD, Kilat Chastei David, formerly known as KBM.
So they're split. So the other one's KBM.
Yeah, the other one's YBM, Yeshurim base medrash. Anyway, Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim Chaim, and should have
every Jew needs one shul he goes to, one shul he doesn't.
The truth of the matter is we should have one Purim, on Yudal we should have another Purim on Tes B'Av Adar. We should have Freilich and Purim. Freilich and Purim. Amen. Chen Lamar. Moshe Kasavav Aviv. Gon Atzim Sadik ve'Anav Kasher Limso Dugma Avasa Kol Yudi. Yis'atev Bo B'Chol Sheila Hachlach Yisvucha V'Tshuvasa Ki'ilu Nitna Me'Sena Amamish. Imo Thea Gittel Haisami Mishpachet Tatzais Visyantiv V'Hashloh. The Moshe Amar She'imo Lamadato Es Erech Hazman, the value of time. And it's actually there. Chuvas Ramoshe, when he talked about Meiser, he also talks about a person should give the Meiser of his time. Ramoshe Begil Chamesh Esrei Kvar Baki B'Chatzi Shas Noshem Zindizikim V'Moed Pogrom Shel 1921 Ne'alatz Ramoshe Livroach Liuben Higia Leslutsk Rab Isha Zalman Meltzer Ad Shechazer L'Makomo Shana Achakach Nisa Lisha Etzima Bas Reb Yaakov Kastanovich Shochet Hamoel V'Rosh Kihila Shel Liuben Haya Hi Lialdalo Chamesh Yoladim Shtei Banot Fia V'Shifra V'Shlosh Banim Pesach Chaim Shenebach Niftar Kantinok, and as of course our Rosh Yeshiva Rav David and Rav Ruvain Kulam Nolim Liuben Milvad Ruvain Shenolad in New York Bishnat 1934 Yatsa LaAmerica Umaher Nitkabel Rosh Yeshiva Tiferes Yerushalayim in New York. As I recall, my father, Olav Shalom, would actually take Rav Moshe around in his car to different places, and how Rav Moshe landed up being the Masarda Kedushin, not only for my father, but also my sister, for her first marriage. Brosha Amad Ad Yoma Acharon, Al Afshe Rabbi Moshe Haya Ot Seir Kven Arba'im, Kvar Az Hechela Harbe Rabbanim Notei Lov B'Shlos Neim. We're all familiar with this forum, Igros Moshe, with Shelas and Chuvas, and of course on the Gemara's Dibros Moshe. We'll talk about it. Baruch Bo Kike Ishioso Hishtake Lahem Agoin, Mora Rom. You know, they talk about Kipnei Malach. There's no question that I could see my Rebbe in my mind. I could see him, and really, it's almost as if you're talking to a Malach. If anyone wanted to know what a Malach looked like, you had to look at Ramoshe Feinstein. You could look at pictures and you get an idea. Mora Ram Medora She'avru Yaches L'Kol Echad B'Chavro Rav Libo Tamir Haya P'tuach L'Chol Mar Nefesh Lo Avar Harbei Zman V'Hukar K'Posei Kador Afila Memshel Amerikai Igia Bo K'Samchut Miuchedet V'Nasi Ronald Reagan Pana Elav Miyad Achrei B'Chirato B'Sheila Madas Torah Yisrael Onesh Misa, capital punishment. And Ramoshe has his tshuva and Chosh Moshe B'Chelik Beis Simon Samaches Milas Akovich Shelsar Medina Nichbad Rachovi B'Olav Ma'od Yarech Asher Misparach Yoma V'Shnosov V'Mishaltov V'Tov V'Neimim V'Atar Sheb'Ktsora Kol Zeh K'Shelo Hufkar Yisra V'Sicha Avo K'Shenisra B'Rotzchim V'Osei Risha Hayadanim L'Migdag Milsa L'Mnoa Masi Ritzicha Shehu Tzolos HaMedina V'Nei Chotim B'Bracha L'Sar Medina Shenayel HaMedina V'Osei Risha Osei Risha Hayudanim L'Migdag, okay? L'Milsa L'Mnoa Masi Ritzicha Shehu Tzlacha Hatzlachas HaMedina Hineni Chosim B'Bracha L'Sar Medina Shenayel Medina B'Tzedek B'Yosher V'Gam B'Mishpat Haroy Kol Yom V'Od Yiskadel Shmo B'Chol Medina Seinu Ha'arzos HaBris HaMavarcha Moshe Feinstein. Of course, he called. There are to show how humble he was. That when someone yelled out, "There's a telephone call for Moshe," he immediately said, "Is that a phone call for me?" Because he did not need to have me called Hagoin, Harav, Rosh Yeshiva. He would go even by his name, Moshe. Yamakdim Shalom L'Chol Echad, Sipur Rav Echad, Rav Yisrael Shurim Efrat. Shesho Yachad Im Ramoshe. It seems that we were interrupted again. Here we go. Sipur Rav Echad, as I said, Rav Shurim from Efrat. Shesho Yachad Im Ramoshe B'Kayitz Echad B'Kfar, up in the mountains, Sheminago Hayabashash Shtayim, Lishkov Lishloshet Revei Shai, would rest for 3/4 of an hour in the afternoon. Palm Raha Rav Shemoshe Yoshe Velome Bosa Shah. He's learning. Vayiga Shalova Shalom Madua Lo Nach. How come you don't rest? Honor Moshe Feinstein. Bincha Katan Ben Shalosh, your 33-year-old boy. Nigash like went over to Mikesh Lishkav Mito. He wanted me to put him to sleep, and he wanted to sleep in his bed. Yeradati me'amita, so I got off the bed. V'ishkafti oto, I put him to sleep. But bincha garam li, I'm so happy that your son caused me lilmod yoser Torah, to learn more Torah. Gam baruch yeh, should be blessed. Arab zeh gam ba'osukayis echra Moshe ana d'tshuva b'shvasrei badafim. How Moshe was able to write a tshuva 17 days, Gedol and Beli Lahabit B'Shum Tefer, to write it al peh without looking at any sefer. Okay. Palm Dibber, the telephone, Rabboni, sometimes, one time he was talking on the phone, and his Rebbetzin Shalo told, Lama told me, why are you standing? Acharei Sicha Hamar, Dibarti and Rabbi Yonas and Steif, who was the Rav Bezdin of Budapest, and Ech Yokolti Lashevet, how could I sit? Okay, anyway, so we will mention the fact that he was Mechaber, the Igros Moshe, the Dibros Moshe, and the Drash Moshe. And on Purim, Rav Moshe has, from Drash Moshe, the Shem Purim, Shenikpa al Shem HaPur, in Esther, Perek Tes, Pasuk Chafov, Tzorich Lahavin Hatam Bezeh, the Hashem HaOmer Iker Inyan Chag. V'zeh Eno Iker, V'aftafel. Why was it called Purim? Purim is not the Iker of the Chag, it's only secondary. So Rav Moshe says that we learn from this, Shelo Yachshov Adam Shem, Kishenatan Lo Hashem Yisbarach Hashem Bracha, a person gets a lot of bracha, Shekvar Hu Biyado, since he has it already, Ein Tzorech L'Tshuvas Hashem, doesn't need Hashem's help anymore. Ela Tzorech L'Hargish, Shekamoshe Tzorech L'Shpal Hashem Yisbarach Kodem Shenasan, Kamo Kein Acha Shenasan. Before someone, if you ask for something, if you finally get a blessing, not only do you ask before it, but even after you're blessed with something, you have to daven. Because even if you got what you consider a blessing, you don't know what we'll have from the Kamo. Look what happened to Haman. He thought that the Gorel was for him, his benefit. It turns out that Gorel turned out against him. Elatovas Yehudim was good for him, not for himself, but for the good Jews. So Iker Gadol be'amuna sheyesh lilmod michag zeh. This is an important yesod in amuna. L'chein shem zeh naos lo miyakol. So according to Rav Moshe, that's why the name Purim is really appropriate. Today is also the art side of Rabbi Yehuda Chassid, and I learn with Bensi every 4 o'clock in the morning. You can join us. Sefer HaChasidim, Yehuda Chassid wrote it. Ben Shmuel Nolad be'elef Mea v'chamishim 1150 in Speyer be'Ashkenaz be'Niftar be'Regensburg be'Yom Shabbos Parsha Zachor Tzaveh, as we had Parsha Zachor on Yud Gimel Adar, which is today. Tanis Esther on Elef Matayim Chamesh Esrei 12:15. Rabbi Yehuda Chassid Hayami Balei Atosvos. Hayabenosher Rabbi Shmuel Chassid ben Rabbeinu Klonimus Mimagensa ben Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbo Rabbi Yitzchak Alevi Rabbo Sharashi. Hagodol ben Achiv Haya Reb Avraham Mishpayer Rabbo Shel Bal Harokeach. V'Giso Haya Reb Moshe Darshan Rabbo Shel Balamor. Yehuda Chassid Nohag Ba'anova Mufleges. Hit Nazir B'Tanugei Olam. V'Yam Igdolei Balei Musar B'Yahadut Ashkenaz. Ukazat Svarim Akol Miksos HaTorah Pirish Al Tanach Pir Al Sefer Yitzira Akol Atfilis Al Talmei HaMitzvos Sefer HaKavod Sefer Chasidim Anim Zmiros. There's some people say that Miachasim that he wrote on Zmiros, and Harbe Makbidim Hitnaig Lefi Azharas Aksuvas B'Tzavoa of Rabbi Yehuda Chassid. Avodas Kama Poskim B'Neim I know the Yehuda Rabbi Yehuda Chassid Yod Etzava Rak Le'Vnei Mishpachto Al Rak L'Zman Mublo. So there's a Chilukei Deis whether the Tzava Rabbi Yehuda Chassid was only for his immediate family, or the Chassam Sofer Sover Shatzava Rak Lamisha Choshesh Makbidol. It's not only for the family, for anybody who wants to be Machmir, Fi Rav Mordechai Elio Al Bnei Eidos HaMizrach Linho Gos Nazaros Meitzavah, and the Eidos HaMizrach should completely follow the Tzavah of Yehuda Chassid Shehuva B'Sefer Zivchei Tzedek, and there are those the certain minhagim are brought down. I wrote down he also is the machaber of Kisvei Osios Tfilin, Pirish HaTorah Rabbi Yehuda Chassid, and Tami Mesoras HaMikra, Mei Atamim Yesod Yichud, and the Tzavah of Rabbi Yehuda Chassid, as for example, has the Isser Laseis Isha Sheshma Kishem Imo or Shmo Kishem Aviha Va'od. These are other things that are observed of Yehuda Chassid. And today is also the yahrzeit of Nachman ben Tzvi Aryeh Goldstein, שנולד ב-1825 ונפטר ב-1894, נולד בברסלב, למד אצל רב נוסן מברסלב. בגיל 29 היה רב ואב בית דין בצ'ירן. ב-1869 עלה לארץ ישראל וחיבר את חיי מהר"ן, את ימי המר"ן, ספר המידות, ליקוטי עצות, אוצר היראה, עלייה לתרופה, פרסוס לחוכמה, רמזי אליסוס, ליקוטי תפילוס, יקרא, צרס הרוסוס, דרך חסידים. Okay. Zos ha'aretz Eretz Yisrael. Okay, ad kan are yahrzeits from today. So now we get to learn what this whole shir is all about. Nidchei Yisrael, Perek Lamed Vav. We're continuing. So the Baal Habayis, if a person could lose his nechasim, it's brought down if he does three things, and one of the things is if he makes a cheshbon, nichnei Baal Habayis mechseyo chad menayu mechseyo b'shabbasa, if he inspects his property on Shabbos. We're talking about masa v'matan, how you should not denigrate the Shabbos, and you should not do everyday transactions, because a person does that, you think that you're going to increase your wealth, you will actually lose it. The over bezeh, hamimso chefzecha, davar, which is brought down in Yeshayahu, Perek Non Ches, Pasuk Yud Gimel, v'kal v'chomer al iser mekar shu iser chomer. Not only should you not inspect your property and measure it, but actual talking about stocks and all sorts of different business matters on Shabbos is definitely asur ma'od b'vaday yitmod chassid. A person who does that eventually, God forbid, will suffer in his property. Lebesof ayidei zev yovad ishro b'inyan ara, and he will eventually lose his. It's not a good thing to talk about business on Shabbos. V'da, you should know the al avonos ke'elu, that on these type of sins, k'shemischal Hashem shemayim b'fnei hakol, if you talk business in front of everybody, like in shul or around on Shabbos, uchamer mishar chavei krisos. This becomes, it's worse than the other averos that involve kares, misos, bezdin. Shaleim imasa tshuva. If a person does tshuva, somebody does a sin for kares privately, the gambo alav yisurin nisbarik menu avono. A person who suffers, so it becomes a kapara for him. The kol, and he could be eliminate, completely purge all his sins. Avol alavon shenischal al shem shemayim. But a person who's mechal Shabbos in front of everybody, talking business in public, ein koach b'tshuva. Tshuva will not help the yisurin lamarik ovan. Even suffering will not take away the sin. Elakulan tolin misos marekes. They hang out, and only when it comes to a person's dying, if he says how very misasi kaparasi, if a person says vidui properly, it could be, only then could be cleansed. Shenemar v'nigla ba'oznei amar Hashem tzvakos im yichuper oven hazel lachem ad temusan. And this is also brought down in Yeshayahu Chaf Beis Yudalid. B'chol zeh im asa tshuva, aber im lo asa tshuva. The person does not tshuva. Mi yodei al sharas godol onshe. Who knows how, unfortunately, how great will be his punishment. Arola olam haba, ki alo mikol pam she'over al isur zeh nivra avura mashchis. Every time he does an avera, there is a corrupting angel, chabel is nafsho, that will cause him tsaris. The kama pamim over al zeh, the yomachan, a person in one day, one Shabbos, does many sins. L'famim yitzur shalpi hayidei pam echad shal mekach mechar. If you all of a sudden you're talking some business with someone, bali day ksiva. While you're talking business, all of a sudden you start writing, mechika, racing, mechatech, cutting, v'hotzah, carrying, kama ovas malachas. Look how many different sins will, just by talking business. Mikol iser v'isur nivra machav echad. And every you do a mitzvah, you have a guardian angel. But if you do a nevera, you have a corrupting, a mekatager, a prosecuting angel, hachiv et nafsha, which will cause sorrows for you. Kedichsiv rabim machovim la rasha, as it says in Tehillim, Perak Lamed Beis Pasuk Yud, many are the sorrows of the pains to a rasha. And if, not only if he does it one day, but if he does it many weeks, not only does it many during the day, it'll be hundreds of sins that he does, and how many prosecuting angels will be created. How much he will suffer in hell just by one sin of desecrating the Shabbos. Al achas kama v'kama k'shehichlir atzmo la'aver zu la'avor aleo kama shvuos zeh chazeh. If he is a recidivist, then he continues to transgress this avera, talks business week after week. Yesh odan eshim sheshomrim atzmam mikol isorei Shabbos kedin. But there are many people who consider themselves shomrei Shabbos, akash maschilim mishmor the Shabbos. Zman harbe akash sheshok ayom v'choshim v'nashun brachav shalom kivin sheshamar at yom Shabbos shalmocha v'gam elu tom tos golo v'chotim v'nafshesem demai nafkamino em achar echad yisha sama movis kol ayom kulo. You know, I'm only going to talk a little business. Doesn't mean anything that much. But then the Chavetz Chaim says, oh yeah? What about if it's like to drink a little poison, just a little poison during the day? Oh, yushta kos, hatarela, not only have a little, but if you have an entire cup, be'ezra goyim achodim, just for a few minutes. Halo gam zeh yachris is nafshum yerzachayim. Just a little poison could kill you. Chen adover zeh. The same thing applies spiritually. Halo kedushas Shabbos, metchila teichech shenigma yom hashishi. You have to also understand that you can't delay Shabbos by saying, oh, I'm going to wait a few minutes. No. When the sixth day ends, so you have to know that Shabbos starts immediately at the night. You have to be careful. Shkia, hadlakas neros, it could be toast with Shabbos. Should be very careful not to be mechalel Shabbos. And with that, I wish everyone not Yom Tov L'Kulam, an easy fast. And for those in Chutz La'aretz, those observing Yud Daled Adar, I'm going to wish you an early Freilichem Purim. We in Yerushalayim, we're going to have to wait a day for Shushan Purim, and well over the fast. Chaim Tovim.